What is going on, guys? This is Jeremy Scott. I'm here to bring you some even more fun content here on YouTube.com. Make sure to subscribe to my channel below. Hit that big red button. Make sure to hit that little tiny bell for notifications if you want to know when I upload, because it's not every day. I don't rely on YouTube to be my sole income. In fact, I get no income from YouTube. I want that to be stressed. Okay? I do this in my free time, and I don't get paid for it. It's like a hobby. So I don't do it all the time. But besides that, if you like this video by the time you're done, or if you just want to be a happy-go-lucky nice person, hit that thumbs up. If you want to be a troll jackass, just hit a thumbs down, because, you know, it all works the same. And make sure to make your voice heard down below in the comment section. You know, comment, talk trash, run your mouths, do whatever the fuck y'all want. I don't really care. It's comments. I'm only going to delete spam. So I've only had 2 comments on anything, so, well, it's 1 now, but that's not the point. Now, see, now I'm rambling. It's something I need to control, but fuck. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about WWE 2K18, which comes out just a little over a month from now for the PS4, Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch. What? First time that a 2K WWE game came out on a Nintendo console. Yes, that's right. We're getting it on the Switch. I'm not getting it on the Switch. I have a Switch, but I'm not getting it on a Switch. I'm getting it for my PS4. That's what I got 2K17 on. Coincidentally, I had 2K16 on my Xbox, but that's neither here nor there, right? So, anyway, if you want to play with me on PlayStation, we'll deal with that later. I'm not getting into that right now. We're here to talk about 2K18. We're here to talk about what's in the game, what we know about the game right now, especially with the new information that got released today, and basically where we stand and what we're hoping for, what we think is going to happen, what we know is probably not going to happen, and all this other shit. So we're going to discuss all that right now. Like I said, if you want to stay up to date with shit, subscribe. That's all I can tell you to do. There's also another video in the description below where I discuss what I hope and pray happens in 2K19, because there's shit that's going to happen in this game and not going to happen in this game that needs to happen in 19, because it's 2017 in real world spec. It's 2017. There's no reason some of the shit that gets brought up in that video hasn't happened yet. I'm just saying. So make sure to check that out below. And here we go. Let's start. Damn, let's quit stalling. God damn it.
Fuck. I don't know how much more damage.
Yeah, just so you know, this is a glitch that I encountered in 2K17. Okay, this isn't 2K14. This is 2K17. This is a glitch that I encountered while playing the game. I went for a head stomp and it wouldn't stop. It just kept going and going and going and going and going. So, yeah. Figured I'd throw this in the middle just for the hell of it, because, you know, kind of trying to emphasize my point a little bit. But anyway, I'll let you watch the rest of this and we'll get on with the video.
I can't believe everything that's transpired thus far. Physical. You're right about that, Cole. This has been an all-out war.
Alright, well, the easiest thing to do is to basically, let's start with what the major information that they seem to think we need to know. Who's in the game? Because that's the important part. Who's in the goddamn game? You know what's funny? It's fantastic that we know who's in the game. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't really give a shit, because I make my own character, and I pretty much just play with him most of the time. That's not to say that I don't make other characters, because I make other characters. I do use actual... I actually, in 17, if I wasn't using my character, I was legit either using AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Brock Lesnar, Goldberg because he was there, Sasha Banks, Paige, that's really about it. I mean, I beat up on almost everybody, but those are pretty much the ones I used for the most part. But we're not getting into that. I just did. I'm rambling again. Shit. Whatever. Anyway, let's go over who's actually in the game. I'm not going to discuss every single one, but I'm going to go ahead and list everybody so that way you know and I know and the world knows, even though the world already fucking knows, but whatever. And so that way you're aware of how many people are in this game, how many wrestlers are in this freaking game. That's crucial to understand when we get to the other shit in this. So, ready? This is who's in the game, confirmed, including Mr. McMahon, who was just basically announced a couple days ago. So you got Mr. McMahon, okay? Bray Wyatt, Dolph Ziggler, Sami Zayn, Dean Ambrose, Baron Corbin, Kalisto, Akira Tozawa, Sin Cara, Hideo Itami, Eric Young, Jinder Mahal, Connor and Victor of the Ascension, Cesaro and Sheamus of Cesaro and Sheamus, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson of the Club. Let's see, who else do we got? Now we got I basically listed these based off of how they announced them on IGN in 4 separate videos. I watched these videos 2 times just to make sure I got everybody. So, Maurice, Naomi, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Natalya, Mickie James, Becky Lynch, Tamina, Ember Moon, who's new. Actually, a couple of the other ones were whatever. Triple H, John Cena, Alexa Bliss, Ty Dillinger, Carmella, Neville, Nikki Cross, Emma, Summer Rae, Paige, which is an indicator, Brie and Nikki Bella, Mark Henry, The Undertaker, Big Show, Kane, Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, Sawyer Fulton, Alexander Wolf of Sanity, Killian Dane of Sanity also. And if you don't know who Sanity is, then you don't watch NXT. Braun Strowman, Jimmy and Jay Uso, Mojo Rawley, Zack Ryder, Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles, the glorious Bobby Roode. It was there. Fuck off. The Miz, Roman Reigns. I wasn't there yet, but fuck it. Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, Chad Gable, Nia Jax, Apollo Crews, Dana Brooke, Dash Wilder, and Scott Dawson of, oh yeah, that's right, The Revival. Nick Miller and Shane Thorne of TM61, again, NXT. Akeem and Razor, yeah, Pains of Author. Well, I guess that would make sense if you were Matt Hardy. The Authors of Pain, also NXT. Tommaso Ciampa, Cedric Alexander, Asuka. It's Asuka, fucker. Asuka, TJP, Roderick Strong, Johnny Gargano, let's see, Jason Jordan, Samoa Joe, Big Cass, Rusev, Finn Balor, Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, Curtis Axel, Bo Dallas, Cassius Ono, Darren Young, Rich Swann, Grand Metalik, Noam Dar, Jack Gallagher, No Way Jose, Epico, and Primo Colon of the Colones, Tyson Kidd, Billy Kay, and Peyton Royce, Titus O'Neil, Enzo Abore, the Brian Kendrick, Shane McMahon, Alicia Fox, Stephanie McMahon, Charlotte, Aiden English, Goldust, Big E, Kofi, and Xavier of the New Day. Fuck. Rhino, I'm reading sideways now. Rhino, Kurt Hawkins, Heath Slater, R-Truth, Tyler Breeze, Fandango. That's old school right there. And Seth freaking Rollins, who is also the cover athlete for 2K18. Those are all the confirmed. Actually, that's not all of them. That's most of them. But that's most of pretty much who's. Now we're going to get into the non-active wrestlers, which we've got Dusty Rhodes, Bushwhacker Butch, Bushwhacker Luke, Alundra Blaze, Lita, British Bulldog, Buddy Roberts, DDP, Big Boss Man, Bam Bam Bigelow, Bret Hart, Andre the Giant, Diesel, Goldberg, Earthquake, Jim Neidhart, Larry Zbyszko, Brutus Beefcake, Greg Valentine, Edge, The Godfather, Eddie Guerrero, Daniel Bryan, Ivory, Kerry and Kevin Von Erich, The Rock, Kurt Angle as the pre-order bonus, RVD and Batista, who are also theoretically pre-order bonuses, but you can get them in the deluxe and the Seen Enough edition. They will be available as DLC, but if you get the deluxe or whatever edition, they come in the game already, whatever, and they'll probably have an unlock code or whatever. Rick Martel, Mick Foley. Let's see. Ricky Steamboat, Ultimate Warrior, Shawn Michaels, Miss Jacqueline, Rikishi, Randy Savage, Mr. Perfect, Lex Luger, Razor Ramon, Rick Rude, Vader, Ric Flair, Michael Hayes, Jimmy Garvin, Sting, JBL, Typhoon, Tanaka, Booker T, Trish Stratus, Psycho Sid, Jake Roberts, Tatsumi, I can't even fucking remember because I fucking forgot, but you know who it is. Christian, Steve Austin, I said Sting already, I believe, and that would be it. Yep, I believe that's everybody. A total of 174 wrestlers, superstars, sports entertainers, whatever the fuck you want to call them, in this game. 65 are non-active though. I want to stress that. And then we have 13 traditional tag teams. All that shit. Now, before we get into the other stuff, I'm gonna let you know who was in this, who was noticeably omitted from the game, and also who got taken out. So, you played 2K17, right? Guess who's not in 2K18? Alberto Del Rio, for obvious reasons, because he's not in the company anymore. Billy Gunn, because he also got released. Oddly enough, Brian Pillman is not in this, but I don't know why, but who knows. The Dudley Boys, even though Devon is still on WWE payroll as an agent. Jack Swagger, because he asked for his release. Blake and Murphy of NXT fame are not on here anymore, especially since Alexa Bliss is on the main roster and she's flourishing, and Blake and Murphy kind of got left to the wayside. Road Dogg, even though he's part of creative on SmackDown, is not in the game. Simon Gotch, because he's gone. Stardust, who is also Cody Rhodes, who's also gone. Eva Marie, who is bye-bye, all read everything. And Austin Aries, who also asked for his release not too long ago. All those guys who were in the game last year are not in the game this year. They are gone for, well, I wouldn't say forever, but they're gone bye-bye. So, now, this is the fun part. This is where speculation starts. Who is not in the game? Who is currently on the roster? Well, the biggest and most obvious glaring ones are Elias Sampson, or Elias, and Jeff and Matt Hardy from Raw. Now, your question would be like, well, they've been around since WrestleMania. Why aren't they on the game? Well, don't forget, there's still DLC that comes out. Probably part of that DLC pack. There's also a lot of 205 guys not on here. We don't have Arya Davari, Drew Gulak, Lindsay Dorado, Tony Nese, Mustafa Ali. All these guys were in the Cruiserweight Classic, but they're not in the game. But, it is what it is. You have the big players from the Cruiserweight division, so that's the important factor. I wouldn't be surprised they all get put in a Cruiserweight 205 live fucking DLC. That would not shock me. It really wouldn't. I also wouldn't be shocked if Matt and Jeff Hardy came out as their own individual DLC pack. Basically, Hardy's reborn by fate, I think is their slogan. But anyway, think about it. You could have a whole Hardy Boys DLC. You have the Hardy Boys of the late 90s, early 2000s. You'd have Matt Hardy version 1, the charismatic Jeff Hardy, You can have you can have Stronger Than Death Matt Hardy. You can have drugged up Jeff Hardy from TNA. I'm kidding. You can also have Broken Matt and Brother Nero in some way, shape, or form, or the Awoken versions, and then you can have Nostalgia Trip 2017 Matt and Jeff Hardy, which is cool. You can have them in there, have the aura of fucking the Hardy Boys or whatever the fuck you want to call. I'm not saying that's what we're gonna call it, but that's that. I would not be surprised if the Hardys come out as their own DLC pack. Also notable that are not there, James Ellsworth, which I guess is not a bad thing because it's James fucking Ellsworth, and he's probably going to be in the game as a manager because Paul Heyman and Bob Backlund, who are technically managers, are also not in the game either. So, or not in the game, but you can have managers. You got to figure there's like Bobby the Brain Heenan from past and stuff like that that are in 17 as managers, but not as active roster people. So don't be surprised. Obviously, the Canellises, Mike and Maria, are not in the game because they came out late in the year. Obviously, they're not going to be in this game. They might even be in the company by fucking time we get around to next year's. Shelton Benjamin, who just came back like not even a month ago, is not in the game, but it is what it is. And then Lana. Lana's been in the company since 2012. She's actually wrestled a couple matches since 2K17 or whatever. But she's probably going to be reverted to the Paul Heyman and whatnot, where they're strictly managers and that's it, because it is what it is. Even though she's had 2 title matches, but what the fuck do I know? But Lana was not blatantly, but theoretically omitted from the active roster. But I can pretty much assume James Ellsworth, at least Ellsworth and Lana, are probably going to be in the game as fucking managers. So, but we'll see later on. Same with Paul Heyman and the Singh brothers, even though they've been on the main roster for a little while, but they really haven't wrestled. So, but yeah, it's possible they're in the game too. But I digress. Now you know who's in the game. You know who's been omitted. You know who's been taken out. You know who's coming. Blah, 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 blah. Now we get to go in the fun part. We're going to break this down a little bit. We're going to go into some of the things that I would like to see and some of the things that aren't going to happen. Some people that I could also see coming out as in DLC. Aleister Black from NXT. Drew McIntyre from NXT, especially with him being the NXT champion right now. I would not be completely at fault to think that he's probably going to come out in an NXT-like or a Rising Stars DLC, which came out last year with Elias Sampson, Aleister Black, Drew McIntyre. If it were me, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate from the UK tournament, that would be a fantastic DLC, in my opinion. And then obviously we had no Liv Morgan, who's been in NXT since 2016. You would think she'd be in it, but it is what it is. I don't really care. Anyway, so that's pretty much how I'm looking at all the characters. Everybody that's kind of in the game, out of the game, all that other stuff. Now, keeping in mind that you have this many individuals in the game itself, kind of makes you wonder. You have 174 confirmed. Okay. 65 of those are non-active. Well, 66 if you include Vince McMahon. 66 non-active wrestlers. Either they've retired, they've passed away, they are just nowhere to be seen anymore, they've fallen off the face of the earth, whatever the hell it is, they are non-active and they're not there on a week-to-week basis is basically what I'm saying. You have 29 women, the most in history. 29 females are on this game as playable characters. That is an epic thing right there. Now you can have a whole fucking division instead of trying to split 9 women between 2 brands, you know? So, that's a good thing. And you have 13 traditional tag teams, which is even better, which can create its own division right there in and of itself. So, now, there's a lot of things. I'm going to go over universe or career mode in a minute, but there's some other little things that have bothered me that have not been talked about this game since, you know, all the information's been kind of coming out. There's some things that concern me, some things that haven't been addressed that I feel like need to be addressed. One of the major problems with this game has been character detection. forever. Character detection has been horrid. It's gotten better in certain aspects, but it's still very, very shoddy. There's no way AJ Styles should be able to hit a fucking phenomenal forearm on a guy that's on the other side of the ring, essentially up against the fucking ropes. I'm sorry. He shouldn't be able to do that. He's not fucking Superman. He could get halfway across the ring. He's not getting from... He's not doing coast to coast. I'm sorry. He's athletic enough, but with the angle he has to get, he's not doing a coast to coast from there to there. Shane, when he does coast to coast, is at the top rope, and he's trying to hit the bottom corner with his feet, and he's doing like a drop kick, essentially. AJ Styles has got to twist in midair and fling his elbow that way in order to do a phenomenal forearm. You think he's going to do that by jumping off the top rope, trying to maintain balance? No. Sorry. But that's just one example. But what I'm saying is collision detection is something that has not been addressed full on for a long time. There's a lot of issues that come with that too. You know, when you wear a mask and it sits like this on your face, or when you hold a title belt and it hovers there and your body moves, you go up steps and it sits there and doesn't move. The belt should move with your body. It should conform with your body. Honestly, it's a belt. It goes around your fucking waist. It's a belt, Vince. Fuck off. It goes around your waist. It conforms to your body. It should move with you, not sit there and you like a fucking hula hoop where it just sits there and you move around. Ooh, yeah. But you get my point. There's a lot of little things like it seems like little things, but it's shit like that that causes glitches and collision issues, especially like hell, I was playing a match a couple days ago and I fucking put, I don't even remember who it was, laying on the table, I climbed a ladder, jumped off, did a leg drop on the table. I hit the table, sat there for like literally a second, and then it broke. So it was like, what? Shit, that's collision detection right there. That's a lot of that has to do with how you have to. It's. I'm rambling. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. But something that really needs work, and I'm hoping they're really going to put some effort in this, especially if we're going to put all this effort into making everything look all pretty and nice and all fancy like. It needs to look nice. It needs to look pretty and all that other shit. But it doesn't do any good if everything still looks tacky as fuck. I'm sorry. You can make the wrestlers look fancy as hell. But if the belts look tacky, if that money in the briefcase looks tacky, and all this other shit, it doesn't make a difference. Michael Cole sounds almost exactly the same. He always does. He always sounds the same. I feel like they recycle the shit he said every year, and then they can record new dialogue if a new wrestler gets added or if new circumstances are developed. I feel like that's the only time Michael Cole does anything, because his fucking commentary sounds almost exactly the same every fucking year. And it's annoying as fuck. Either give him new shit to say, or just fucking don't use him. I would be fine with Corey Graves and Byron Saxton in the grand scheme of things. I would be okay if it was just Corey Graves, Byron Saxton, working off each other, because they do work off each other pretty well. They're not perfect by any means, but they do work very well together. Michael Cole's kind of like that middle guy. They've done pretty well on Raw, so I would have no problem with a two-man booth, but we're never going to fucking get that, are we? Like I said, pictures and all these little gameplay videos that have come out, you've seen them. They look nice, it's fancy and all the other shit, but you've got to also look at it like this. This is all pre-rendered shit. In the game, and in-game footage is one thing, pre-rendered is completely different. It doesn't matter if you have pre-rendered in a in-game engine. There's a crucial difference. In-game engine is going to work the same regardless. You can say, "Oh, this is all in-game footage." Like if you watch Battlefront or Star Wars Battlefront, all that was in-game engine. It all looked exactly the same, which was fantastic. Battlefront was a beautifully looking game. They blew that shit out the park. I'm sorry. That game is probably the most visually appealing game I played in a very long time. With that said, you can make These superstars look perfect. They could look like you fucking pulled them off the TV and you threw them on my TV. Okay? But, there, like I said, when you have something that is already pre-distinguished, like an entrance, that thing is not edited. It is the same every fucking time. It is going to stay the same every time. When you interrupt it, it's going to slightly change. The frame rate's going to switch. The interaction is going to change it a little bit. Characters look slightly different from when it is a pre-rendered instance, a pre-rendered, movement, and then you're getting like a free moving, free controlled character. It's just like old school. The easiest way for me to explain this is PlayStation 1. When you played Final Fantasies, when you played Final Fantasy 7, well, let's use 8. 8 looked better. When you played Final Fantasy 8, that was a very pretty. All the cutscenes were pretty. They looked like anime. They were fantastic. They were nice. The graphics were cool. And then you play the game, and it's all this blocky shit, and you're like, why can't the game look like that? It's so pretty. And, I mean, if you can't get that, remember Killzone 3 for the PS3? They had all that pre-render shit, and they said it was in-game footage, and it looked fucking amazing. It looked like PS4 shit. And then that game came out, and it looked like crap. We don't live in those times anymore, but there's a distinctive difference between a free controlled character and something that is already pre-rendered. I'm sorry. So if you can't make this game a little more fluid, then I don't care how pretty they look. Because if you have these super pretty fucking characters and then it's like a fucking 30 fucking frame per second downgrade so I can play the character and then now it looks blocky and choppy and shit, then fuck you. I don't care. Gameplay is the important part. I don't care how pretty it looks. Gameplay is the core of the game. Graphics are not important. Graphics are important, but they are not crucial for replay value. Replay value comes in mechanics. Replay value comes in gameplay. It has nothing to do with graphics. I fucking have played games that are 2D side scrollers that have fantastic gameplay, have fantastic staying power. They look like fucking Nintendo games from fucking 1985. But the structure, the gameplay, the mechanics are fantastic. They make you keep playing these games. Fuck the fact that it looks like a game from the 16-bit era. If it's structurally made well, it doesn't matter what it looks like. More rants. Anyway, another issue. Character scans. We get scans of all these superstars, which makes them look pretty and better and all this other stuff. One problem it creates is when you have your created character. Your created character physically looks completely different from a fucking, generated John Cena. So if you have John Cena, which was made by 2K themselves, and you stick your, fantastically made character next to him, it looks... It just looks funny. It really does. I mean, I understand you get free mobility. You can do whatever you want with your character. It's not going to look exactly as polished and as fine-tuned as, the 2K fantastic, pretty character. I understand that. I am fully aware of that. But you've got to make it less obvious. John Cena has defined abs. Don't go down that route. He has defined abs. He has defined pectorals and shit like that. And delts and all this other bullshit. You create a my character, unless you physically sit here and do shading and toning and spend 6 hours on his abs, you're not going to look like John Cena. I'm sorry. You just aren't. Or I guess Seth Rollins. We'll use him because you've seen the ab picture. Your created character looks like a flat sheet of mesh, with his muscles and all this other bullshit, and it's like, yeah. Unless you're gonna sit here and spend hours on hours, fine tuning it so that way you look like Jinder fucking Mahal, you're just gonna look like a pasty white fucking prick. So but I digress. I love the creation suite. It's fantastic. It's endless possibilities. Endless possibilities. I'm not that type of person. I'm not the type of person to sit here and spend 20, 30, 40, 50, 6, 10 hours in Creation Suite creating a fucking replica of Jay Lethal. I'm not. I appreciate and I love the guys that do shit like that. They are fucking fantastically skilled guys that have the time and the patience to do that. I do not. I am the type of person, like most people that play these types of games, play them RPG style-esque. And what I mean by that is that they want to play as their character. Most of their time is going to be in my player, or, well, yeah, it's my player now. My player and my universe mode. So, what do we want from my player and my universe? Now, there's been a few things that have been released lately, today, about my player. That there's going to be now backstage interactions. Anything involving your character as far as creating feuds, tag teams, getting matches, dealing with the GM, all that shit happens backstage. You can take one of two paths. You can either be a company man or you can be a fan favorite, apparently, which is close to what I was explaining I wanted in another video, but that's not my point. It is my point. What the fuck? If you want to play as a company man, you basically you work for the authority, is the best way to put it. If you're a fan favorite, you're working to please everybody, so you either go the heel route or the face route. Duh! But we're going to sit here, we're going to make it sound different, because we're not going to use those insider terms, heel, face, heel, face, heel, face, heel, face. That's fine. I want that as a core dynamic, but I want to be able to switch from a heel to a face and a face to a heel. I don't want to be stuck as the company man my entire career. Maybe I want to be a heel. Maybe I want to be Monster Among Men, Braun Strowman, and then maybe 3 years down the road, maybe I want to be the humble, giant. I'm not. It's a bad example because I don't want to see Braun Strowman as the Mr. Lovable fucking Funkasaurus. Seth Rollins. We'll use Seth Rollins for everything because why not? Seth Rollins was a heel basically, and then him and the rest of the Shield turned face. Then he turned heel on the Shield and became a heel and joined the Authority. Then he got injured, came back, was still heel for some reason, and then gradually turned face, and shit like that. I want to be able to switch between heel and face, and I don't want like he's a heel now, oh he's a face now. I want it to be slow progressions. I want to be able to sit here and move down that road slightly or quickly. It just depends on what I want to do. Maybe I want to sit here and take that slow burn and just kind of like grow animosity and start to get mad and hate certain people and then just turn heel. Or maybe I just want to go walk out to the ring with a fucking chair and just fucking be like, oh, hey, Sami Zayn. Whack! Ah, fuck you! Whatever. But I want to be able to switch back and forth. There was no indication that you could. It just said you can be a company man or you can be a fan favorite. That's fine. But maybe I don't want to be a face forever. Maybe I don't want to be a heel forever. I don't want to be John Cena for 15 years. But all these dynamics are supposed to take place backstage. You're supposed to be able to do all these things, interact with other people, fucking wardrobe. You're supposed to be able to work with sound. You're supposed to be able to work with all this other stuff. Now, that kind of goes into what I would like to see, but I don't know how detailed it's going to be. I feel like it's going to be kind of bare bones and very minimal. But there's a lot of potential there. There really, really is. 2K can really just shoot to the moon in 2K19 just by doing a few things. Now, hear me out. I know you've heard me for half an hour. You can hear me out for another 5 minutes. This is what I would do if I were going to create my career. Simple as this. Very detailed, very specific, very it's not, I say very linear because it's an overall linear process. How you get to point A and point B is possibilities are endless. You eventually have the same end goal. You eventually start from the same spot. This is essentially what I'm getting at. Your eventual end goal is to get into the Hall of Fame. Right? You all start at the beginning. At the Performance Center or whatever. This is how I would do it. You get a dark match tryout. This is the beginning of the game. This is your tutorial. You get a dark match tryout. Whether you do a dark match on NXT, you do old school and have a dark match on SmackDown or Raw or whatever, or 205 Live, but you have a dark match tryout. I feel like you should start one of three ways. This is just to get to your character. This has nothing to do with when you're on the main roster. I feel like the company man fan favorite should be strictly for the main roster. Shouldn't have any effect on NXT. Should have any effect on your training. I feel like when you get to the dark match tryout, you have to pick a certain persona. Either you are basically born and bred, you are a freak athlete, or you're an average Joe. And that determines your pluses and minuses and all. It's like any other game you play. So like if you start as a born and bred, your family's been in the business for years. Your parents were wrestlers, your grandparents were wrestlers. You've been wrestling since you were 10 freaking years old. You know how to run the ropes. So your advantage, you have all the technical gifts and you know how to wrestle. What's your downside? You have no fucking charisma whatsoever. You could out-wrestle anybody in that performance center right now. But you basically have the aura of a box of Cheerios. Of regular Cheerios. Gluten-free. Or you can be a freak athlete. You have the speed, the stamina, the body, the mystique. You look the part. You look the fucking part. You look like a champion walking in there. 6'5", 275 pounds, cut like fucking chiseled, like marble stone, all that shit. And all that. But you have no skill. You're green as fuck. You are green as fuck. Yeah, you have charisma. You have charisma, don't get me wrong. But you're green as fuck. You can't wrestle. You've never wrestled a day in your life. Hell, you've never even watched wrestling until 2 weeks ago. Okay? When your friends say, hey, they're doing tryouts down the street. You want to go? Okay, sure. What the fuck? I'm still waiting on that call from the Patriots, man. Fuck it. Let's go. So, that's what I'm getting at. You have all the physical... You have all the natural ability to be a professional wrestler. You just are green. And then you can be the average Joe. You've never wrestled and you are not physically gifted. You just aren't. You're like... Basically, you're like Kevin Owens without the 10 years experience. Okay? But you have charisma shooting out your ass. You can your personality, and you can talk with the best of them. You are a charismatic motherfucker, but you can't. Maybe you've done a little backyard wrestling. You have a little bit of, but you just don't look the part. You have to pick one of those three. You have a dark match. Depending on how your dark match goes, you either get a performance center developmental contract, or they say you have to come back later. This is the key part. This is where it's going to differentiate a little bit. Most people will probably get a contract to go to the performance center. Let's say you don't. Let's say you fail. You go back out. There's a mini game, one of 3 mini games. You sat here and had your match, but the guy here sat here and said, well, you know what? You just don't have the speed. You don't have the stamina to be a wrestler. You go do a mini game. You go to the gym. You work out. You do crunches. You do speed tests. All this other bullshit. Let's say you go in there. You have no charisma whatsoever. You're shy. You can't talk. You have a mini game where you have to sit here, and I'm spitballing here. I don't know. You have to do some stand-up comedy at a local bar or something. Whatever. This is spitballing. I'm not saying this is the exact type of minigame I would do, but this is just to give you an example. And then, of course, if you're the technically gifted one, but you have no, if you're the, physical specimen, but you have no wrestling acumen whatsoever, you go train with somebody, and you work on technique. Whatever. Essentially, you do the mini game, you come back, you try again, you get in. If you fail a second time, then I don't know. We'll do what they'd say sometimes happens in other games. You're just not cut out to be a wrestler. Goodbye. So long. And you have to try all over again. But we'll do it that way. So you get the contract at the Performance Center. You stay there for 3 months. You learn how to do promos. You learn how to do certain moves. You work on your character. Just kind of similar to what happened last year, where you spent 4 weeks in the Performance Center learning how to do a promo, learning how to wrestle, shit like that. So you spend 3 months in the Performance Center doing all that stuff. Then you eventually get promoted to NXT after you've done all that other stuff and you've proven your worth. And essentially every 2 months, essentially, or every month after you do your thing, after you do like mini games or do whatever to improve yourself, every month is like, all right, we're gonna have an NXT tryout. You know, Triple H comes in with a couple guys. Let's say Road Dogg and let's say Triple H, William Regal, and Matt Bloom come up and say, all right, hey guys, we're gonna do a couple NXT we're gonna do an NXT tryout. You 6 guys, one of you is gonna be getting promoted to NXT. I want to see who's the best out there. You go and you do your thing, whatever. And then, you know, if you do good enough, you get promoted. If not, you stay in developmental a little longer, whatever, until you're ready to go. Once you get promoted to NXT, you have to stay there a minimum of 6 months in game time. Kevin Owens is probably the fastest one in and out of NXT. He was there literally like 7-8 months. You have to stay in NXT at minimum 6 months. What you do is completely irrelevant. Whether you decide you want to form a tag team with somebody in NXT, whether you are a female and you decide you want to go straight after the title, whether you want to be a manager, whatever, blah 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 blah. What you do in NXT is completely up to you, but you stay in NXT. Now, the way you're gauged on how well you do is how you get over with the crowd. Whether your promos are good, whether your in-ring skill is good, you know, whether you're putting up 4 or 5 star matches, whether you're sucking, you know, depending on how you play your character. This is where your heel face persona is going to start to kind of shape itself. So that way, when you go to the main roster, if you've been acting like a heel in NXT the whole time, you can pretty much just get an easy into the authority way of going about it. And if you're a babyface, then you've got an easier way of getting into the fan favorite side of things. So, but you can stay in NXT. You have to stay at least 6 months. There will be opportunities for you to get promoted. Obviously, it's going to depend on what you're doing and all this other stuff. There's going to be a 3-year career structure for NXT, because there's people that don't want to leave NXT. They stay in NXT. If they want to stay in NXT, you got a 3-year arc. After 3 years, you get promoted no matter what. So let's say you want to stay there. You develop a tag team. You know, you run with your tag team partner. You win the tag team championships. You hold it for a little while. You lose it. You win them again. You lose it. Then you have a falling out with your partner. You split up. You guys have your epic rivalry match. This is all within a year and a half. Then you have your own little singles run. You move your way up the card. Near the end of the 2nd year, you're in the title picture or whatever. Maybe sooner or later, it doesn't matter. You know, you're vying for that NXT championship. This is if you're a male athlete, obviously. And we're not going to discuss the whole female aspect, because it is legit like 2 things you can do, unfortunately, but that's just how it works. Then you're vying for the NXT championship. You win it. Or you keep losing, whatever. You win the NXT title, you hold it for a little bit, you lose it, you compete again, maybe win it again, lose it, win it a 3rd time, become the first 3-time NXT champion, whatever. Eventually, it's like, all right, now you get promoted. So you've essentially done everything you've wanted to do in NXT. Now you can go up to either SmackDown or Raw. You get drafted to one or the other. You can only get promoted to the main roster at 2 different times of the year. Either you come up after WrestleMania, like the Monday or the Tuesday after WrestleMania, like everybody else does, or you can come up after SummerSlam. So you can only come up after Raw or after WrestleMania or SummerSlam. Or if there's a draft, then you can come up then. But ideally, you are either going to get promoted right after SummerSlam or right after WrestleMania. One of the two. So once you're on the main roster, you have a 10 to 15 year story arc. You are now a bona fide, newbie, or whatever you want to call yourself, on SmackDown Live or Monday Night Raw. You now have 15 years to make your career good enough to get into the Hall of Fame. Now, during this year, you can get traded. Now, during this time, you can get traded between brands. You can jump ship from whatever you want to do. Whether you're on Raw or SmackDown, you can go back and forth or whatever. You can do either way. Injuries. You can get injured. If you get injured, you are sacrificing time. Now, I'm going to explain this real quick because we're getting long here. Fuck. If you get injured, it depends on what you're, like, if you are somebody that does the same shit all the time, you're going to wear, like, say let's say your finisher is the phenomenal forearm. You're always sitting there hitting that phenomenal forearm. You're constantly putting all this pressure on your elbow and whatnot. Let's say you break your elbow. You're out 6 months. Now it's like, oh, fuck, what the hell am I going to do? You can do those mini games like you did back in NXT to kind of help, keep you fresh and stuff like that. Let's say you develop a new finisher. Maybe you work on your characters, stuff like that. And you lose 6 months in game. It's not like, oh, well, blah, blah. Now, what'll happen is, like, you can either fast track to just go to when you're cleared to come back, or you can sit there and just kind of watch it, and it'll give you a description like, hey, once you got injured, you were set to do this. Instead, you were replaced with this person, and then this happened, and this happened, and this happened. It doesn't have to be detailed. Legit, you could just have a little piece of paper pop up and explain what happened while you're injured. You come back, you make your glorious return, and you move on from there. Now, the key thing that was brought up in this stuff that was released earlier is you're working towards that WrestleMania moment, and they made it WrestleMania moment. They made a point of saying that your career does not end after the WrestleMania moment like it did in 2K18, which was stupid as fuck and pissed me the fuck off. Because you know what? I got that WrestleMania moment in my second year. And I'm talking second year overall. I'm talking when I was in NXT, because I was in NXT half a year. Then I came up, went to fucking Raw, went for the IC title first, got that, and then I went after them. Then I got the Money in the Bank, and I cashed in, and I lost it, and then I legit went for the title, because I cashed in on the World Heavyweight Champion, not the WWE Champion, and then I actually got a WWE Championship match at WrestleMania, and then poof, it was over. He had a great career, spanning 15 years, having rivalries and feuds with all the top superstars in all the world. That was the shittiest ending to any game I've ever played. Well, not really. But that was the shittiest fucking ending you could have possibly thought of for WWE 2K16. But I digress. You're working towards that WrestleMania moment. What that is, I don't fucking know. They really haven't explained it. I mean, is it you beat The Undertaker? Because that's not really relevant anymore. Or you main event winning the World Championship in the main event of WrestleMania. Maybe that's what it is. Or whatever. I don't know. But I would imagine... I would say you're working towards a WrestleMania moment. There's going to be a moment at WrestleMania that everybody's going to remember you for. So whether that's you becoming the Intercontinental Champion, after a hellacious feud or whatever, whether it's you winning the world title in the main event or whatever it is, you have to strive for, like, what is your ultimate goal just in the game. You have to decide what that is. You are going to be given options. I'm assuming, at least in the actual game, what I would do is that you don't actually strive for WrestleMania moment. You just strive to have the best career possible. You want to have matches with some of the greatest of all time. You somehow get Shawn Michaels out of retirement and have a match at the Royal Rumble. What? You know what I mean? You're striving to have one of the best careers of all time. And then you have. And one major thing I would love to see, there's guys that have had rivalries with people their entire careers. If John Cena were to retire tomorrow, who would you expect his last match to be with? Randy Orton. They have been entwined forever. If you want to go, your last match is with your ultimate rival, boom. There you go. But you have a career. You have somebody that you like. Perfect example: Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. They are going to be rivals their entire career. Period. It doesn't matter if they're best friends out. Fuck kayfabe. But my point being is Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. They are essentially, rivals for life. I would love to have a rival for life, whether it's a real wrestler or whether it's somebody I create myself. I would love to have a real life rival. That would just be epic in and of itself. And then I'm not saying you have to sit here and always be feuding with this person, but maybe you guys are just blood feuds forever. You know, and maybe there's a year and a half time where you guys decide to be friends and you guys work it out, and then you guys get back to being good, and you become tag champions, and one of you is the Intercontinental and one of you is the World Champion. You're dominating the brand, you know, stuff like that. And throughout all this, you're having, you know, feuds, you're making a name for yourself, having title wins and losses, having epic matches, epic failures, all this other stuff. And all this is culminating, and it takes 10 to 15 years, and then eventually you retire. Whether you retire by getting a serious critical injury, which is very, very possible. And that's what I'm saying. Let's say your neck's bothering you. Maybe you got your neck injured pretty bad. Let's say you decide, okay, I'm gonna play it easy and try to save my neck. Let's say you ignore that and you go out and you keep having a match. You break your neck. You get injured. You're gone for 9 months. You recover. Your neck's fine. You come back, but you have that repaired neck. That is gonna be with you the rest of your career. Let's say you do some crazy shit. You screw your neck up again, and you're like, okay, you need to not be wrestling with that neck. You ignore them. You go out there. You break your neck the second time. It's like, we're not clearing you to wrestle ever again. You have to retire. Maybe it's 5 years in. Maybe you have what happened with Daniel Bryan. That would suck in a theoretical sense, but that would be epic in and of itself, because then it's like, that was your career. That was you. Specifically for you. You did everything that amounted to what your career ended as. That would be cool. That would be cool to me. And you know what? Just so I can wrap this up and get to the end of this, because this is going way too fucking long. As far as the whole interaction, universe mode would be essentially like, best way I would explain it, the way my career and my universe mode should work, my career should be like this. You live in the bubble of Vince McMahon. You live the outside of the bubble. And it's how you have full control of everything outside the bubble. But when you're in the bubble, you're under Vince McMahon's control. Essentially. Universe mode, you own the fucking bubble. You control the bubble and everything else. It's universe mode, you control everything. In career mode, you control your character, you control how he is, how he acts, how he interacts with people outside of the ring, and all that other stuff. But if you want something in the ring, if you want an accomplishment, if you want that title match, if you want to be in event WrestleMania, you have to do it under the bubble of Vince McMahon. You have to do it according to what he wants you to do, not how you want to do it. Maybe you do it your way and they're like, you know what, let's give you a match. Maybe you earn it from him that way. Who knows? But you have to still be within the confines of that bubble. I know, it's a lot of shit. Fuck. Anyway, like I said, we're getting almost to an hour. Fuck. If you're still watching, kudos to you. That's all I can say. I ramble way too much. Maybe my aspirations for a fucking WWE 2K game to be that detailed and that encompassing is maybe a little too much. Hell, if I had full control, this is what I would do. Just to add a little salt and pepper to the top. I would do this. You have all that, right? When you're backstage, your backstage hands, these are people that you're going to interact with, that are going to be part of your entire career. You have Matt Bloom, Scotty 2 Hottie, Norman Smiley in NXT and in the Performance Center as your NXT trainers. They are there when you're in the Performance Center, when you're doing your dark matches, when you're in NXT. They're there. They're always around. They're always there to help you. They work with promos. Like Scotty 2 Hottie is the one that helps you do your promos. Norman Smiley is the one that helps you with your technical prowess and shit like that. Matt Bloom's the one that helps you with your physicality and all this other shit. Let's say you go into the main roster. I don't speak Spanish. I don't. But you know what I would love to see? I would like to see Carlos Cabrera. Right? Who's his partner? Marcelo Rodriguez. Carlos Cabrera and Marcelo Rodriguez. They do commentary. If you want Spanish commentary, you should be able to turn that on. That would be cool. That would be cool in and of itself. I don't speak it, but that option would be pretty damn cool. Think about it. This is how I would have it set up. Commentary for SmackDown Live. Corey Graves, Byron Saxton, Tom Phillips, like it is right now. If I had the option, I would not even bother with fucking Byron Saxton on SmackDown Live. For Raw, I would have, unfortunately, Corey Graves, David Otunga, and Michael Cole. Like I said, if I had the option to have two, I would have Michael Cole and Byron Saxton. Don't need Otunga. Corey Graves doesn't need to be on Raw and SmackDown. Have a little variety. You know what I mean? But whatever. NXT, you have Mauro Ranallo and Nigel McGuinness doing commentary on NXT when you're in NXT. Fuck Percy Watson. You don't need Percy Watson. You can fuck off. I don't care. And then, of course, you have Vic Joseph and Nigel McGuinness for 205 Live if you want to be a cruiserweight. And, you know, they actually do commentary. It doesn't have to be super indulgent and shit like that, but I would love to have that kind of thing go there. When you're on SmackDown, you have SmackDown commentary. When you're on Raw, you have Raw commentary. When you're on NXT, you have NXT commentary. It makes it more authentic. You know, I want to have Renee Young sit there and do interviews with me backstage. I want to be able to have Charlie Caruso come up to me and ask me interviews. I want to have these actual people there. I don't want just generic fucking whatever. And another thing, like I said, you're backstage and you're doing shit. I want actual backstage hands. I want to be able to see Billy Kidman and Gorilla. I want to see Fit Finlay and Jamie Noble walking down the halls, you know, doing their thing. You know, I want something from creative. Go and you talk to Road Dogg. You want to talk to the boss, you go to Vince's office. I want, when you're not in Vince's bubble, for kayfabe to be dead. Kayfabe's been dead for years. We accept kayfabe when we watch it on TV, when we go and pay to watch it in the arenas. We accept kayfabe then. Kayfabe does not exist outside of that ring. Outside of those ropes, outside of that barricade, and behind that curtain, kayfabe does not exist. Fuck kayfabe. Okay? I want it to be like that. Fuck. You know what? And as far as like these generic referees we have, you know, I want to see Charles Robinson and Mike Chioda. That's who I want to see as my refs. You know who Charles Robinson is. Little Nate. Little fucking Nate, dude. Yeah, and Mike Chioda, he's the senior ref, dude. He's like the Earl Hebner of now. I want these guys reffing my matches. Because you see them all the time. Mike Chioda's been in some of the biggest fucking matches of all time. I mean, crap, Charles Robinson, he's been in some of the biggest matches of all time. These guys should be the refs. I want to see them. It's like, hey, it's Mike Chioda. Mike Chioda. If he's getting a chant, he should be in the game. Come on, dude. This is me being fucking wanting everything. But fuck, I don't care. That would make a perfect game in my mind. Will it happen? Probably fucking not. But that's what it is. And if you've watched this long, thank you so much. You're a trooper. You really fucking are. But if you liked it, if you like my concept for the entire concept of 2K18, if there's anything you wish would get added, if you wish there was anything that's taken out, for instance, creative matches back, 8 superstars in ring, that's a big plus. Now you can have a Royal Rumble that feels like a fucking Royal Rumble. Road to Glory, we still don't really have a whole full concept of what that is. I would love to see the ranking get fucking tweaked really good this year, because it shouldn't take me a year to go up from 10 and 8 or 7. Come on, be realistic. You know, and have goals. Have goals for me. Not just, I want you to have a 5-star match and lose to Kevin Owens. Oh, you need to get DQ'd. How am I supposed to make the character DQ me? Really? I mean, you expect me to make... You expect me to make John Cena hit me with a chair? I can hit John Cena with... I'll go out of the ring, get a fucking chair, and I'll whack John Cena right there. But you want me to win by disqualification? How the fuck am I supposed to do that? Anyway, like I said, if you like the video, make sure to like the video. Hit the thumbs down if you thought this was too long and I rambled way too much, which is more than possible. Subscribe to the channel for more shit. Remember, there's a link down in the description where I talk about 2K19. It's a little shorter than this. I promise. It's shorter. I timed it a little better. This one I rambled too much. Also, make sure to tune in. We're going to do some Overwatching. It's going to be fun. Deathmatch. Oh yeah! You ain't going to see Mercy in Deathmatch. I'm telling you that right now. And remember, save Ferris. Alrighty, guys. I will talk to you guys later. The last point. Last point's coming. Last point's coming. Promise. It's going to be interesting. If you have kids, you're going to enjoy the last point. I can promise you that. I'm Jeremy Scott. I will talk to you guys later. Make sure to subscribe. Like I said, I've already probably told you like 6 fucking times, so you might as well do it. What's it going to do? It's not going to kill you. And I'll see you guys next time. You know, whatever. Peace out later. Fuck off. I don't care. I got better things to do. So, I'll see you guys later. Peace.